Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Welcome to episode 831 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports for institutions, large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. In short, we just call it the HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is back out on assignment. We're going to excuse him today, but we have a full alignment for you as we have some big news. I promised you all that we would be dropping our top 6 list, getting to the number 1 AD for 2025-2026 in terms of what we refer to as the major division level. That's FCS Division 1 when we talk about football, Division 1 and all sports. We will have one first time. This is the 5th one for the major division. We'll have our first time for the mid-major division. We will broadcast and share that with you next week as we're running those numbers. I know what it looks like, but I want to put a couple of more data points in there to make sure that we cover all of our spaces. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, as I said, co-host with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. We are filming from our home studio, sending a signal live to KCWA's 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer, that is Ralph Cooper, in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, let's bring everybody on board. See how all is doing for the day. Charles, how are you today?
I'm doing okay. This is one of the more expensive days of the year for me. I got 2 in my household with birthdays today. So I want to say happy birthday to Wendy, my better half. And I also want to say happy 18th birthday to my youngest, Camille. So
happy birthday to Wendy, certainly the better half, and happy birthday to your 18th. Now going off to college, boy, big deal.
Big deal.
Go off to college. Well, good to hear family is doing well. With that being said, we have Wilton Jackson II. Wilton, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Before I go any further, Charles is a smart man. He went ahead and got it out the way. You know, make sure you recognize the wife and the daughter.
That's smart. Hey, proper protocols for performance. You know, let's be prepared.
No, absolutely not.
But 1st of July can't get here fast enough. Yeah.
Yep. Yes, indeed. No, I'm doing good though. Glad to be back on. Taking days one day at a time. Like I'll be glad. It's the end of June and we get into them days as we get closer and closer to media days for football, CIAA, SWAC, MEAC. I mean, I'm waiting for the month of July for sure.
Yes, I'm booked, set up for Birmingham hotel, all that good stuff, and ready. Got some plans in the work for the lab listeners. We're going to do what we normally do, but we might add a couple of spins onto it. So look for that. We have set up that at least myself and Roy, we will also be in Baltimore for the MEAC Media Day. If we can get the CIAA, close your ears, AD, to kind of coordinate with us, I would love to be in places where they do their thing, but they overlapping. They make it hard for folks to try to travel what we would call the national HBCU media. I know you got regional folks that make it work, but just saying. With that being said, AD, I don't want to get your trouble, so you don't have to answer that. But I want to ask you how you doing today, and you are on mute. So before you start talking unmute yourself. Go ahead.
I am fine. And Doc, there's a flight that will get you from Baltimore back to Atlanta so that you could drive to the SIAC on Wednesday. And the reason why from Atlanta to Macon on Wednesday. It's closer than the drive to
Do you see this
Baltimore.
gray hair?
Doc, I even tell you what, you can ride with me because that's
Have
exactly
you
what I'm
seen me
going to do.
walking around? Okay, that might work. Now I'll ride. I'll also tell you that I'll ride in a minute.
Yeah, I'm leaving at the butt crack of dawn because I'm not getting off the plane and riding that hour.
Yeah, that'll work. Well, let me see that. Maybe I can make it work. But with that being said, let's get back into it. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THT Agency LLC. THT Agency is a company that provides sporting, educational consulting, and data analytics. Charles, what is exciting you right now in the HBCU world? What's on your mind?
Yeah, well, let's take a look at it. This comes to us from HBCU Sports. But we had the NBA draft last night, and Howard University basketball star Bryce Harris, he signs with an NBA team. He's going to get a shot as he's earned a chance to compete on the professional stage after signing a summer league deal with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Harris built his reputation at Howard as one of the MEAC's most productive two-way guards. As a senior, he averaged 17.2 points, 7.5 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 1.1 steals, 1.1 blocks, while shooting 54% from the field and 37% from the three-point line. So kudos to Bryce Harris for getting a shot on the next level.
Certainly, kudos to Bryce Harris. Look forward to seeing him in the summer league, see if he can put some things together and find his way, if not in the NBA camp, certainly in the G League team, and keep pushing forward to keep his dreams of playing in the NBA at the next level. Certainly means he has a shot at some professional leagues as well. Let me go to you, AD Drew. What is on your mind in terms of the HBCU news of the day?
Actually, what's on my mind, Dr. Cavil, is the fact that you kind of went viral today based on our show from Tuesday featuring one Mr. John Grant. And the headline, according to HBCU Game Day, as soon as I pull it back up, says, thought I had it open. College football playoffs for HBCU question, courtesy of Steve Gates. The HBCU fans have debated playoffs for years, but the college football calendar may be the biggest reason why a larger Black college postseason is not coming. The idea sounds simple. Take the best HBCU teams, build a 14 postseason, let the champion be decided on the field. Fans would get more games. Many schools would get national attention, yada, yada, yada. But John Grant shot that down on our show on Tuesday. And the question actually came from one of our comments from one of our listeners. So go read the HBCU Game Day article for a summary of it. And there's also a short of it on YouTube from our video on Dr. Cavil's channel. So make sure you go and do that. But I just want to say this for everybody who's clamoring for a playoff. What we gonna do? Have the two teams from the SWAC championship game rematch against each other? 9 times out of 10, those are the two top SWAC teams. Every now and then you get the case where, like when FAMU was the second best team, and people argued last year Alabama State was the second best team, but 90% of the time you get the top two when you get East versus West. And in the MEAC, hell, they only play 5 games. You want a rematch after a 5-game schedule? So we already have our form of a playoff. It's called the SWAC championship game. And last year we had a playoff game in essence when Delaware State and South Carolina State played the last game of the season. That was the same thing as a playoff game because it was an elimination game, and that's what playoff games are, elimination games. So good idea, but
A lot of good points there. Great points. And you're right. In a lot of ways, it's built into the current system. And I'll get you all to chime in to kind of give your thoughts on what AD just said, because I thought good points were made there. Certainly, you have a bracket that puts the MEAC champion directly into the Celebration Bowl after the regular season. You actually have a semifinals matchup on one side, essentially, which is the East versus the West in what is known as the SWAC championship game. And then obviously the winner gets the bid as the champion of the conference into the Cricket Celebration Bowl presented by Toyota, as we all know now. So, Charles, playoff sounds exciting. I mean, that's I've already got busted your bubbles and taught y'all one time that playoffs is all about the money, and to re-excite y'all in terms of getting fans to get re-engaged and play higher prices, to replay what happened in the regular season, just to remarket that. But hey, it is what it is. With that being said, what are your thoughts with, particularly now that you had John Grant kind of explain the challenges with trying to put it together, not so much just looking at a format, but also making sure you have the windows to showcase it in such a way that it's financial windfall for those involved as well.
Yeah, I mean, television rules everything around me. So dollar bill, y'all. And I mean, that was very much explained on Tuesday. That window is just not there. I think today I've heard a lot from my Division II fans who want some way to be incorporated into some sort of playoff. That's been the biggest pushback and punch today. But I mean, I think it was expertly explained the other day. I mean, in terms of right now, there is not a television window unless two of the bigger games on the calendar in some manner are moved, and that's just not happening.
Mm-hmm.
Wilton, you weren't here on the show, so you didn't get a chance to get your presence, but obviously you've heard about it and you followed it. You saw the banner over the years about the playoffs. What are your thoughts after understanding the challenge with the windows? And we haven't even got in the challenge with re-engaging your fans to be prepared to travel multiple weeks, depending on where you have it. I guess you could have the semifinals type of playoffs where it's on campus. You could have something like that may help one side. But even when you talk about the SWAC, you're talking about multiple weeks of travel late in the season if you're looking at a Bayou Classic, Alabama State, or even, those end-of-the-year rivals with Alcorn, Jackson State. You're doing that, get a little break in there, but then you got the championship game, and then a week later you're going to Atlanta. That's a lot of travel that you're asking folks to be prepared for, and now you're adding another game. What are your thoughts?
I'm probably going to echo what everybody else has already said, but starting off with John Grant, and I caught some of his comments, not all of them, but money and TV rules everything. And if there's no open weekend, which we pretty much know, then obviously that's not going to happen. But kind of echoing what AD Drew said, you gonna get these two SWAC teams. Well, not two SWAC teams, but a MEAC and a SWAC team. But if you add another team, this is no discredit to CIAA or SIAC, but what is the likelihood that one of these teams, if we were going to do this 14 playoff with, SWAC, MEAC, SIAC, and CIAA, what's the likelihood of the SIAC team winning? And this is from looking at it from I guess more so from an X's and O's standpoint. Now, if I'm a fan, I'm looking at, I want this 14 playoff because I want an extra game to come travel to. Some do. I mean, I can just remember last year when we were talking about how Prairie View went from playing in the SWAC championship, and now they got to get ready to travel. They came to Jackson from Prairie View to play the SWAC championship, and then they turn all the way back around to leave Texas again and go to Georgia for the Celebration Bowl. So it's just one of them things like you either want it or you don't. Some do, some don't. It ain't gonna never be a perfect scenario. But I will say this, and more so specifically about AD Drew's point, the two best teams are already there. And that's just the reality. Now, from a fan standpoint, If you just want more football games because I love football, I don't really care about some of the other sports as much as I do football, and you just want to see another football game, then you're going to stand on that side. But other people that understand the finances, the logistics of how this is supposed to work, then you'll understand that like it's probably just not the most equitable for, you know, HBCU programs to add an extra game for a bigger playoff.
Can I throw a monkey wrench in there?
Well, no, we need to get into this break. We get into this break. We'll save it on the back end. We'll get a chance to do it on the back end. We can get back into this conversation. And in fact, on the backside of it, I want to actually play the conversation so those that didn't see it can pick it up. So in that last segment, we'll play that and then we'll get back in this conversation. Let's go ahead and take our first break. We'll come back on the other side. I want to make sure that we stay on top of it and do the top 6 of the ADs, VPs of athletics rankings to stay on schedule. We'll be right back after this first break.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
If you've ever told yourself, I want to get into real estate but don't know where to start, here's something just for you. From Friday, July 31st to Sunday, August 2nd, the Learn Real Estate Fast Masterclass is coming to McKenzie Office Park in College Park. You'll learn wholesaling, commercial investing, and how to purchase property with zero money or credit. I can tell you, education and access are everything. This masterclass is designed to give you both. Whether you're brand new or ready to level up, this is where you start making real moves. Enjoy free lunch, free study materials, and receive a certification of completion. So don't wait. Seats are filling fast. Do not sit on the sidelines while others build wealth. Take that first step toward ownership and legacy. Get your tickets now at learnrealestatefast.com or tickpick.com. For more information, call 678-859-3303. Master the market, build your legacy, secure your future today.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Sports Lab. Let's get into Cavil's Inside the HBCU Huddle Report. We're gonna give you the 2025-2026 major VPs of athletic rankings. Let's go with number 6. As we pulling it up, I'll give you a little framework. This looks at ADs in terms of new facilities, updates they have brought into their athletic department, additional revenues that they have been brought into the campus are extremely important. Championships, obviously, we look at championships in two components. Did you do it in the major sports? Football, basketball, women's basketball. Some look at that and to a component, baseball. Then we look at overall sports in terms of the all sports trophy. Where did you rank in those rankings? So all of those give you points. And so as you see here, Dr. Travion Scott, Grambling State Tigers, was not ranked last year. He was ranked 2 years ago. He's gotten back in the mix. And they got updates where they're looking at the indoor practice facility, which is the second HBCU to have that at the FCS level. First one in the SWAC. He's done some other things to bring revenue. What that looks like. It's 70.32 points. Moving up to number 5, the elite. We have our first woman involved, Melody Webb, Dr. Melody Webb, Sports Norfolk State. She was ranked 3. She dropped a little bit. They didn't get that big bump for men's basketball, getting it done on women's basketball, but did it in a lot of the other sports. So she's still commanding what she did, made some good changes in terms of women's basketball program that was in the mix. So she does fall a couple of spots, but she stays in the top 6, which to me is extremely important. 76.31 points in terms of what she's brought to the table. A new one, a first timer at number 4. Anton Goff, Prairie View A&M Panthers, were not ranked last year. He hadn't been ranked in the top 5 since he's landed the job there at Prairie View. But this year he did the double-double, something that has never been done in the modern era. 3 other times, I should say, as a team won in terms of basketball and football in some components. He does it with a SWAC championship game, which means he got into the Celebration Bowl in terms of the matchup. Then he does it for men's basketball, winning the SWAC tournament, representing for the SWAC, and got a NCAA first 4 win to put on his ledger as well. Did it at the perfect time when he was closing his contract. Actually had a clause where he got the 17 wins to the tournament. Then he really cleared out the space when he got the win, at least from my perspective, in the tournament. So it sounds like he's now signed a extension in terms of that. It hasn't been reported out there, so I won't put the length of the extension. 87.25 points. Again, first time. AD over there at Prairie View, Anton Goff, bringing us to the top 3 where it gets interesting. Kerry Davis, he has won it before. A couple of years ago, he was in the mix. Howard Bison, men's women's basketball, probably had the best year ever for athletics, but a lot of it was done on the women's side, so he's been able to do it in terms of all sports trophy. Took a little backseat with football, but they believe they landed their coach and should be back in the mix on that side. They continue to do a lot of good things on the basketball, both men's and women's. He was previously 4th, so he's trending in the right direction, as they say. 89.19 total points. The only other individual that has won the award thus far, Kerry Davis, has been at the pinnacle of this a couple of years ago. With that being said, we're at number 2.
Ooh.
Dr. Jason Cavil, I know he's going to get tired of seeing this. He has been the bridesmaid. Number 2 last year, number 2 this year. He's been in the top 5 consistently. He's really been in the top 3 consistently. I know he's like, look, Dr. Cavil, I need to break through. I said, just get a couple of more points, Dr. Cavil, a couple of more points. You be in the mix. You right there. Good guy in terms of what he brings to the table. He really is bringing a shine. A lot of things off the field that he's bringing. Obviously, the all-sports trophy. He seems he generally has that on lock. But somebody snuck in and got him this year. 90.46, the points to do that, which means we have our first back-to-back winner in a lot of ways, which is Ashley Robinson, Jackson State Tigers. Number 1, 92.27. really has done a lot of stuff. All Sports Trophy in the mix for football in terms of hosting the SWAC championship game. Did it in a Eastern Division that many people believe is the toughest. Certainly, Charles has made sure everybody has known when everybody's looking at the West. When you went to expansion, the modern expansion or 12-team expansion, as I like to call it, Charles was one of the first out there. Don't take your eyes off the East. And sure enough, all the power has been in the East. But number 4 did get in the mix and change it up as the first time a road team has won a championship. First time the West has got it done in terms of the divisional format since hosting a team. But credit all goes to Ashley Robinson, Jackson State. He has won it multiple times. He does not like letting it go, and he found a way to hold on it. The gap still pretty close, but credit to Ashley Robinson, 90.27 in all the Jackson State faithful out there. You got a good one in terms of that. In terms of Ashley Robinson, he shows why, as he is ranked number 1 in our ranking in 2025, 2026. Let's see how we want to look at this. Wilson, I'm going to let you go in first. Go ahead and tell me, what do you think about the overall rankings? And what do you think about Ashley getting it back-to-back this year?
Okay, so one of my first questions before I really get into the rankings is, which are all the major sports counted at the same level? Meaning, like, does football, basketball count at the same level as baseball and softball? Because I just wonder, you win a championship, it's a championship, but is it?
No.
Okay. That's just
basketball, men's and women's, and football are weighted extremely high because they're the money program. We all know that. Y'all always talk about money games. That ain't my fault. That's what y'all put out there. They ranked higher. That's what everybody chases, the fans.
Okay.
Now, baseball is solid, so it's in the mix. Softball, because we do the balance of Title IX, it's right in the mix. And then we also have a subsection where you get points for what you do as an entire athletic department, which is the All Sports Trophy. There's a mix in terms of APR. Where are you with your APR? Are you making sure that you're keeping your programs in such a way that they can actually play for championships, not just in the conference, but just as importantly in the NCAA? And then there's also a strong component in terms of what are you bringing to the department? Are you just getting all your money off of revenue? Are you having other revenues? When I say revenue in terms of money gains, are you bringing revenue? Are you finding outside ways to grow, redo your athletic department, either new buildings, new facilities, or updates to your facilities? Yeah. Now, some ADs do a really good job with their SID departments that puts this stuff out there. Now, if you ain't doing that, AD Drew, that's why his volume and weight is really important, because he makes sure whatever Morehouse is doing, it's out there.
Hey, we bought a case of paper. I'm writing an article.
I have to do double whammy to figure out who is doing what. That's not my fault. But I do my homework and I get what I need to get.
Yeah.
This is the ranking, and that's how it all comes together. So great question, and I wanted to make sure everybody know. I open it up, but to make it clear, since you asked again, that's the way this system. This is not no fan votes. This is not about just if you win the big games. This is a little bit of all of it. That's why we put it weighted. You see the points in there over there, even with the 10%. It can be close. Do your work, do your homework, win some championships, build some new stuff. You can get in the top 6.
Gotcha. So with knowing all that, I'm okay with Grambling being at number 6. I don't know why in my spirit I feel like it's somebody else that could potentially be in that spot, but I won't say nothing. I think Charles might know where I'm potentially going at number 6. Number 5.
Who you think should be 6?
I'm gonna leave some meat on the bone.
Go for it.
I'm gonna leave some meat on the bone. For number 5 for Norfolk State, I agree with them. They've dominated in both women's basketball and men's basketball. I'm okay with that. When it gets to, because football is weighed a little bit more, football and basketball, is there a way that you could potentially see PV in the place of, that's tough. because
they won in football and basketball.
I was about to say they won championships.
All your social media accounts.
No. I'm gonna say it. They got championships. So I'm thinking, like, can you potentially, raise that up above Alabama State, specifically in football, who came second behind Jackson State?
Dr. Jason gonna get you. You can't get number one, and now you bumping him down. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I'm just saying. But
then go ahead and get in here.
And then also, and as much as now, I'm from Jackson State, probably through and through. But it does say something about Kerry Davis and Howard winning those 10 championships, and that cannot be discredited.
Yeah.
10 championships is 10 championships.
Exactly. So even if he wouldn't be at number one, I think there's a case that you could flip Howard with Alabama State.
Wow. So he gonna drop Jason all the way to 4. He gonna put Kerry at 2 and Golf at 3. Wow. All right. That's Charles.
So let me ask this question. If I'm a Prairie View fan,
yes,
why is Anton Goff not up higher? If I'm a fan, if I've won SWAC championship, football, basketball championship,
he gotta get a little more weight on it all sports now.
Yeah,
all sports. Yeah. You got to climb up a little higher on your all sports.
If that weighs more.
Well, I'm saying it's a combination.
Yeah.
It's a combination. The formula has it all included.
I will say this.
And I can see you right. Maybe you push them up a little bit, but you got to get your weight up. You got to make sure you're doing it all sports.
This is like the XXL class. This is a strong class. Yeah, this is a strong class.
It's a lot of good ones up there. Yeah. AD Drew, save you for last.
I'll be brief. If you say all sports, Dr. Cavil, you have to think about Howard 10 times. But which that's weighted on the women's side. But who won the all sports trophy? Jackson State did in the SWAC. But I love Jason. I love Jason to death. Jason is my guy.
Yeah, good dude.
I can't put Kerry no lower than 2.
That's why
we can sit here. We can sit here and split hairs between 2 and 1. But Ashley Robinson and Kerry Davis have to be 1, 2.
I gotta see my buddy though, Kerry Davis. I need to see some new facility updates.
If anybody has the endowment to do it, Howard has the endowment to get some of those things going.
But you activate it.
And you gotta activate it. Let's go.
The biggest thing,
you can't put all your money in the NIL. You got to do a little bit of both now.
One of the biggest things Alabama State has probably over some of these programs is some of the partnerships that they have, because that is one thing Dr. Cavil has been good at, is forging those partnerships. And that's not taking anything away from anybody else on this list at what they do. But once again, Jackson State, one of the biggest things they do, everything Jackson State does. They are probably, of all these, they are probably the kings of marketing of all these 6 on the screen. So, and that helps when you do, I'm assuming when you do your research, Dr. Cavil, because it's easy to find information out for Jackson State versus some of the other ones. The number 2, if Jackson State is the king of marketing, Alabama State's the prince of marketing. So it just depends on what you weigh a little bit more as far as your rankings go. But I don't have a list with the 6 on the screen. Maybe some trepidation about the order, but the list itself is solid.
Good stuff. Let's take our second break and come back on the other side. And let's have a chance to see if we can talk to the winner, Ashley Robinson. We'll be right back after this next break.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
If you've ever told yourself, I want to get into real estate but don't know where to start, here's something just for you. From Friday, July 31st to Sunday, August 2nd, the Learn Real Estate Fast Masterclass is coming to McKenzie Office Park in College Park. You'll learn wholesaling, commercial investing, and how to purchase property with zero money or credit. I can tell you, education and access are everything. This masterclass is designed to give you both. Whether you're brand new or ready to level up, this is where you start making real moves. Enjoy free lunch, free study materials, and receive a certification of completion. So don't wait. Seats are filling fast. Do not sit on the sidelines while others build wealth. Take that first step toward ownership and legacy. Get your tickets now at learnrealestatefast.com or tickpick.com. For more information, call 678-859-3303. Master the market, build your legacy, secure your future today.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a state, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
I am Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Let's bring in Ashley Robinson, just Ashley Robinson, in terms of the mix. And let's get his thoughts on being honored by Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Huddle Report as the 2025-2026 AD/VP of Athletic Rankings for the second consecutive year. Fourth time he's been mentioned by our analysis as the AD of the year. We'll bring him on shortly as working through the devices here. There we go. None other than Ashley Robinson, Jackson State's Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics, doing a wonderful job over there at Jackson State and doing it in a myriad of ways. As you said, one of the unique things about our ranking that you may not be aware of, it takes a lot of things into not just the visual sports. It also looks at Olympic sports, if you would. It looks at your overall sports trophy. It talks about what are you doing in raising funds, building new developments that you have in place. So it really talks about all components that I believe that are part of being an athletic director. What are your thoughts in terms of being announced 2025-2026 AD of the year?
Very excited. Very excited. I want to thank you all. A lot of hard work, but this is not just me. I got to give a shout out, to my president. I got to give a shout out to my coaches. I got to give a shout out to the best student athletes in the country. Jackson State has a rich tradition. I can't forget my most passionate alumni in the country and the support that they give Jackson State University in order for us to be successful. I got to give a shout out to my Tiger Fund Foundation, Blue Bengal, and all our support and what they do. And the city of Jackson and the state of Mississippi. It's nothing like Dr. Cavil, Jackson State University. And I'm born and raised here. And I'm telling you, when you have success here, it's nothing like being successful at Jackson State University. So it's not just about Ashley Robinson. It's about all the people, the parties involved, and everybody's here. And it's about supporting those student athletes and making those students first. And not just the student athletes at Jackson State, but all the students at Jackson State, the staff, the faculty, the administration, the whole Jackson State family. I'm just thankful to be a part of Jackson State University.
Certainly well done in terms of sharing the magnitude of all those that involved in an athletic department and the success behind that. So I appreciate you sharing more than just yourself and everybody that's involved. We got a little time here, so I'm going to let Charles ask a quick follow-up question to get some insight in terms of his thoughts.
Sure. And let me start here. Congratulations, first and foremost.
Thank you.
And I do want to ask this question because I think the first one metric that I think every fan looks at is, I don't know what it is that you have in terms of what you look at with regards to coaches, but you consistently find coaches who win. So part of the question is just, what is the secret in the sauce in terms of finding championship level coaches? And this is something, you create goodwill when you're obviously winning.
Dr. Bishop, that's a great question. And I tell people, everybody wants to be at Jackson State University. You look at the history of Jackson State. Even when I started as in administration, the goal was to be an athletic director at Jackson State. My thing was building on tradition and blaze new trails. Jackson State has a rich tradition. And when you look at coaches and they want to be a part of athletics, you talk about coaches with passion. You talk about coaches with character. You talk about coaches with integrity. And you're talking about coaches that are very, very hungry, that have a point to prove. A lot of the coaches that, that we have hired at Jackson State has a point to prove. There are coaches that people said they can't do it. They would never be a head coach. They would never be successful. And those coaches come here and they really, they strive on that. But they build on that great tradition, on the past tradition that our predecessors have put in place from an athletic director standpoint, from a coach's standpoint, and they build on that rich tradition. Everybody know the message here when you come to Jackson State, regardless of the resources, regardless of what you have, you got to win. There's no excuse to winning. There's no excuse to being successful. When I talk about win, not just winning on the field, but you got to win in the classroom as well. You got to win, in the community. You have to win in the city. You have to win not only just on the court and on the field, but you got to win everything that you're doing. You have to win in. And I have a passion in picking coaches that understand that process. And that's one of the first things I tell coaches when I meet with them. I say, hey, do you know what you're signing up for? You know exactly where you're coming to. We don't care about, hey, A.D. Robinson, I don't have this or I don't have that. That's, hey, do you know where you're coming from? So, having that conversation with those coaches before they get here and understand where they want to be. And you look at our coaches, Dr. Bishop, you got 6 or 7 coaches, head coaches that are alumni of Jackson State University. And not just, picking them as a coach because they're alumni. I'm talking about qualified alumni coaches that want to be at Jackson State University, that has a passion and a different message for Jackson State. So you look at those coaches and you look at their passion and you look how hungry they are. You look at what they're about. You look at, the things that they value. And that's what I look at when you look at coaches, when you look at the history, of coaches and bringing coaches in and the culture of coaches. How hungry are you? Everybody say they want to be a head coach. Everybody say they want to be, a part of the program until you get there and you be like, oh, wow, this is what this is, But I make sure that we understand, what the mission here at Jackson State University and what it's about. And we're going to win, on the field. We're going to win in the classroom. It's almost like the statement that AI made when he made the statement, no matter where I am, we're going to win. But that's a little different here at Jackson State. If Jackson State University, either you're going to win or you're not going to be at Jackson State University. And that goes for Ashley Robinson as itself. And it starts with me. Either we're going to be successful or Ashley, you're not going to be here. And that's the passion, and that comes from our president, which is a proud alum of Jackson State University, with understanding the mission, understand that in everything that we do at Jackson State University, that we have to win in it. So that comes from the administration that I put in place in athletics, that understands that we have to give our coaches what they need to be successful. And we don't have it all, and we're not perfect, but we have to have a communication line where we work with them and do some of those things. Dr. Bishop, my thing is the 5 C's, which is, change, communication, customer service, championships, and commissioners cup. And, it's been a long time coming for that commissioners cup. So, I finally got my 5 C's. We had won the commissioners cup since 2011. This took me 8 to 9 years to get my 5 C's. They're complete now. Now we just got to go back and start over again and make sure that we adjust to change, that we have good customer service, and that we in the community so we can do those last 2. And that's what it's all about when you talk about pitching coaches. Just sit down, talking to them, and understand their vision and understand their goal. And understand, do they just want to be a head coach, or do you want to be a head coach at Jackson State University? Everybody can't work at Jackson State. Wilton is from here. Charles, understand. Everybody can't be a part of Jackson State University. We have a passionate fan base. We have passionate alumni. We have passionate legislators. We have passionate leaders that understand that the mission is to be successful here at Jackson State University. So this is a unique and a very good situation, but it also could be a situation that where if you don't be successful, it can be the other way around. So that's what you look at when you're talking about, when I'm going out and meet with coaches and say, everybody's not a good fit to be here. But if you want to be here, if you want to win, and you want to be successful, and you have the passion, and you have the character, you have the integrity, and understand the rich tradition of Jackson State University, you can be successful if you really want to be a successful head coach.
Thank you, AD Ashley. I want to get Wilton in here, but I want to be cognizant of your time. I want to take our next break. But
got all the time in the world. Let's go.
All right, Wilton. I'll give you a chance to go ahead and follow with your question.
You got to give my boy Wilton. You got to give my boy Wilton a chance now. That's a great brother reveal. I know
you're the AD of the year. So if you ask for it,
I know you got the black and gold, but that's a great brother right there. So.
At least I got some help this time. But congrats, AD. So my question is, and Dr. Cavil, we were kind of talking about this before you came onto the show about so much of the games that are being played are important, but also the messages that are put out about your programs through the marketing aspect. And that's one thing that you've been able to do, within your time as AD, obviously bringing in a high profile coach like Deion Sanders, the success that he had. And then now with, continuing to build on the marketing, the messages of Jackson State's athletic programs, not just football, not just basketball, not just baseball or softball, but all programs, but more so specifically, you bring in another high profile person like a Kendrick Perkins to become general manager for the basketball program. I mean, what's the process like in continuing to elevate JSU athletics and bringing in these people to continue to not only make athletics that much better, but then also just really thinking about the students first and how the program can continue to succeed?
That's a great question. My goal when I came here at Wilton was, when you turn the TV on, I want to see Jackson State. When you turn the radio on, I want to hear about Jackson State. When you open that newspaper, which we had a lot of alums that still get that newspaper at the front desk, when you open that newspaper, I wanted to see Jackson State University. So we had to be strategic about how we've done that. We've done a lot of great things. And I tell people all the time, before I got here, it just didn't start when I got here. Jackson State had a great tradition. Jackson State done a lot of things, but we got away from what we was doing. We went, 5 or 6 years in a drought when I got here in 2018. And one of the tradition things that we have been doing. So we had to do some marketing things. We had to do some things to make sure that we got Jackson State out here. The most important thing that I love, Wilton, is everywhere I travel, I can say I'm going somewhere to hide. I can say I'm going somewhere to travel. I get off that plane, I get in the airport, I go in a restaurant, they say, oh, Jackson State University. It's no matter where you are, everybody knows about Jackson State. We've done some really, really good things to market Jackson State University. And it's not just about athletics. You talk about the Sonic Boom of the South. That's been all over the country. Dr. Little does a really, really good job over there. When you're talking about recruiting for Jackson State and putting Jackson State on the national stage, athletics is just a stepping stone for that. But from a marketing standpoint, I tell my team all the time, we got to make sure that we get things out there. We got to make sure that people know what's going on in Jackson State. One of the great things in 2018, I got here, I'm not so sure that everybody knew that Jackson State had 4 Hall of Famers. I'm not so sure that everybody knew that in the state of Mississippi, that Jackson State got more Hall of Famers than anybody in the state of Mississippi. So the first thing I did when you walk in my office, anybody that's been in my office, I think, Wilson, you might have been in my office. I know Dr. Bishop Cavil. When you walk in my office, you're going to see the 4 Hall of Famers framed on my wall, because that's a marketing tool. That's a big deal. And we take that for granted. But you're talking about more Hall of Famers than anybody in the state of Mississippi. And we hoping Jimmy Smith will be that 5th one. Hopefully we'll be adding one.
It should be that 5th. Yeah.
5th one. But those are the type of the marketing strategies that we have to use from a tradition standpoint to put out there. This past year, I didn't know this, and I was doing my thing. We had won in every sport, and I didn't know that we hadn't won an outdoor championship on the men's side since 1990, which is a marketing tool. Now, who was on that team? Coach Mark Thorne, which is our head coach, who's been at Jackson State, was on that team. But a lot of people didn't know that. And even as the athletic director, I'm like, oh, wow. But guess what? Coach Mark Thorne and our president, Denise Gregory, was classmates. And she was there to celebrate with us. So you're talking about those marketing and those moments that you have to catch. Hey, those are big deals. Those are things that, we haven't looked at. We won in track, but have we won outdoor track, men's track? And those are the type of things. So capture that moment. Our PR team does a really, really good job, led by Travis and Taylor and their team. Travis does a great team, along with our PR director, vice president for the institution, Tangela, has done a really, really good job. So, our team at Jackson State, they do a really, really good job of marketing the university from a university standpoint and from an athletic standpoint, overall. And that's what it's about for me. It's not just about marketing athletics. It's about putting Jackson State on the front line everywhere we go, so we can grow from an enrollment standpoint. So Ashley Robinson is all about growing Jackson State. Athletics is all about growing Jackson State. It's not just about athletics. We are a team, and I think you got 2 areas that really, really do a good job of that. Athletics and the Sonic Boom of the South. And that marketing piece is you cannot. I mean, you just can't pay for it. You can't. And we've done some really, really good jobs. Everybody know when we hired Deion Sanders that we hired the biggest marketing in the country. That was a really, really big deal. And him to hire TC Taylor and then bring TC Taylor on, and then you go back to your roots and you talk about the tradition of Jackson State. You talking about Jackson State hired their own. Now we back to where we were. Now we got the TC Taylor. Oh, and TC Taylor won the only Celebration Bowl at Jackson State University. And he's an alum of Jackson State University. So those are type of marketing stories that you really want to be able to talk about. Even with basketball, we talk about Kendrick Perkins, but let's talk about Trey Johnson, which is an alum, which played in the NBA, which is a legend here in the city of Jackson, which came back to be a part of Jackson State and wants to be a part of Jackson State University. So those are the type of marketing deals that you want to keep those type of things going and keep it going. And all our coaches are doing a really, really good job of doing that. And those are the things that I'm very, very excited about. But we have to day-to-day marketing is every day. You have to keep that thing going every single day. You have to keep your platforms updated. You have to keep that thing doing. So, I want to give a shout out to Travis and his team. Travis does a really, really good job, and Tangela and her team for the university. They all do a really good job. So, I'm very excited about that. Travis has a great team. You got Travis there, and everybody knows the great Rob J. I mean, you can't do anything without Rob J. He's a legend in Jackson State Junior. You want anything out, you talking about marketing, you got Rob J in there. And that's give a shout out to Taylor and Kendall, we have a 4-man team when it comes to media. And Tangela has a whole team over there, PR for the university. And we work well together. We don't announce anything without letting them know. We don't do anything without letting them know. We work hand in hand. And I got to give a shout out to my boy, Dr. Little. I mean, the Sonic Boom of the South. I mean, it's nothing like walking in the game. I mean, it brings chills to my back. And when you hear the Sonic Boom of the South interest, I mean, how can you not get ready to play? How can you not get excited about doing some things? So you talk about Jackson State University from a marketing standpoint, we got a plethora of things that we're very, very excited about. And for me, it's not just about athletics, but you check that tradition of Jackson State and you merge everything together. And you talking about, hey, when you turn your TV on, you're gonna see Jackson State. When you turn the radio on, you're gonna hear Jackson State. And when you open that newspaper, you're gonna see that big block, baby. And I love it. Go Tigers.
Well said. Well said. Glad we were able to spend a little bit of that extra time and get that information in. I do want to say I've had a pleasure of working with Dr. Tony Latiker, Dean of the College of Education and Human Development, as we are one and two of the 14 R2 deans that work together when we talk about developing education from that perspective. And I say all that because you're absolutely correct when you talk about Jackson State, and everybody comes with a level of pride, and he brings that to the table when he talks about education in general, but specifically in the state of Mississippi and the city of Jackson, what he wants to get done. And so I wanted to do that. And that's under the guidance of President Dr. Dennis Gregory. I want to make sure that we say congratulations to her as being the 14th president, as she was given the nod appropriately, in my little humble opinion, as a permanent role on April 16, 2026. So I want to make sure that we acknowledge that in the work that she's putting together, as we talked about R2 status. So they do, you all at Jackson State are doing it on both sides. Obviously, as an academic person, Dean, as myself, look at it from an academics, and then you see it athletics, and you put that marriage together. It's a difficult challenge when you talk about what that looks like. So I want to congratulate you, and as you appropriately do, share that with Jackson State University, your president, in terms of what they put together. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to allowing us to honor you based on this recognition. So thank you, Ash.
And thank you, Dr. Cavil. I really want to thank you all. I appreciate what you all do for HBCUs. This is what it's all about. We couldn't do it without you. And I want to say again, I have to give a shout out to my staff. They work tirelessly every day, led by day-to-day Elise Wells Kilbert, which is my assistant vice president. And they do a really, really good job in making sure all my staff, and they make a really good job to make sure our coaches and student athletes are successful. So again, Dr. Cavil, this award is not about me. It's about all my people around me that do a really, really good job to make Jackson State look really, really, really good. So I want to say thank you, and I appreciate what you all do. I always run into Wilton. I run into you, Dr. Bishop, Dr. Cavil. You know, we talk often, and you tell me. And what I like about you all tell me the truth. Whether I like it, you're always honest, and I love that. But I love what you all are doing for HBCUs, and this is what it's all about. I'm an HBCU product, and I want to show people it can be done at HBCUs.
Well said. We'll take our last break. We'll come back on the other side, play a little bit of the video to get in some other talk. And we want to, again, congratulate and put honors on AD, VP, Ashley Robinson at Jackson State University. We'll be right back after this last break.
If you've ever told yourself, I want to get into real estate but don't know where to start, here's something just for you. From Friday, July 31st to Sunday, August 2nd, the Learn Real Estate Fast Masterclass is coming to McKenzie Office Park in College Park. You'll learn wholesaling, commercial investing, and how to purchase property with zero money or credit. I can tell you, education and access are everything. This masterclass is designed to give you both. Whether you're brand new or ready to level up, this is where you start making real moves. Enjoy free lunch, free study materials, and receive a certification of completion. So don't wait. Seats are filling fast. Do not sit on the sidelines while others build wealth. Take that first step toward ownership and legacy. Get your tickets now at learnrealestatefast.com or tickpick.com. For more information, call 678-859-3303. Master the market, build your legacy, secure your future today.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter. From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
And do some good work. So I wanted to put this out there based on some of the metrics they've been putting out. What are the roadblocks to creating a 14 playoff?
Timing. There isn't, and scheduling, and what that would look like. So if you right now you have the the Bayou Classic sort of at the end of the SWAC season, going right into the SWAC championship, and then going out right after that into the bowl game. So timing and scheduling is one. The second part of it is none of that works if you don't have available television time. And that's the other major factor, because TV time is all tied up until you get to week 2 where we are. They're all tied up with championship weekend. They're all tied up with around Thanksgiving with rivalry weekend. And so there isn't really any window. And there is zero appetite to move the bowl game later, because now you're moving it into the mouth of jaws, I would call it, because the week after us, the NFL schedule, they start playing on Saturday.
Yeah. Along with the college playoff.
Along with the college ball.
The college playoffs, yeah.
Right. And so there is really no appetite, there's no value, nor is there a window or opportunity to create an additional playoff. And I've heard about that a lot. But then you have to look at what is the value and how can you deliver the value, and all the things that would deliver the value do not exist. This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. So we're back at it. You saw the discussion for those that didn't happen to see it as we discussed live on Tuesday. We wanted to get a little bit back into that talk. And AD Drew, I know you had some comments that you wanted to make sure you share. Again, you are on mute, so I want to make sure before you start to share it that you give us that additional information.
I was thinking about this, and this came to be when Wilton and Charles were having their discussion before with the 14 playoff. How does that look if it were to go? What happens when it's 3 SWAC teams and 1 MEAC team, or vice versa? or if you're Texas Southern or Prairie View and your first round opponent is Howard, how does that look? So just things. And would a Celebration Bowl featuring two BAC opponents or two SWAC opponents because you would bracket it? I mean, you could potentially bracket if you seeded it 1 through 4. It could happen.
Right.
Is our appetite for a conference rematch in the championship game? We know the big boys do it, but does our market, would it go for that? And if you think about it, with two SWAC opponents, in theory, it could be the third time that they beat CSIAC Circa 2025.
Yeah, that's true too. Very true. Great points when you add those multiple factors on. Wilton put another third variable out there, and as we were discussing, and a lot of people were discussing, we were looking at it just in terms of MEAC SWAC. He introduced CIAA-SIAC, which now gets into some NCAA guidelines, if you would. Is that even within the rules that would allow even if it's a 4-team championship, bringing the champions out of both? And you're also talking about, are you asking those conferences that are embedded in terms of the Division II playoffs, are they going to forego that?
Yeah.
Which is a whole different component.
Yeah.
And then, where I like to get into it is really the business part of this, sports pedagogy. Currently we're essentially saying now the payout for the bowl game is $1 million, $1.2 million, essentially around that ballpark, right? Let's just say safely, $1 million essentially. And, you're looking at additional contracts to spread that out. And ever so often when the contract is updated, it increases, which is something you like. And that's a variable you want in there. So even if you say at the end of this contract, you want this essentially to go to a payout of $1.5 million, aspirational, right? So what type of numbers are you asking if you're just bidding this out to ESPN, Walt Disney, to even make sense to make it work, right? You would want it to at least essentially all the components of it would get about $1 million, or it doesn't make sense to expand it, which means you need the champion to get even more money. So you're at, $4.5, $5 million that you're talking about investing in this playoff. And I'm talking about payout. I'm not talking about what it costs to put it on, right? And this is unique from the standpoint that this is an ESPN event. So while ESPN, as you think about the college playoffs, you got the CFP, right, which goes and gets the sponsors. You get the television that pays so much for the rights just to broadcast it. But they're also getting all these additional sponsors to pay in so they can use all that money to do distribution. So everybody in the playoffs get some type of money, and you get different amounts as you go to the next round. Similar to what you see format for the NCAA tournament. You get credit for each round you go, and you can make additional money. So now you're talking about, as you expand this, you're talking about on the safe side, probably $7-8 million to make this work. Right?
Is there an appetite for it?
Huh?
Yeah. I guess that, I'm taking in all the variables. The thing that keeps coming back to me is there an appetite for it?
Well, I think that's what we're getting up, because when you ask the question for appetite, the appetite is for different folks. Mm-hmm. So there's an appetite for the fans. It's pretty easy. The fans would like it. At the very least, fans will turn on their TV and they'll watch it, right? But then you're talking about there's an appetite for fans to travel. That's the thing that we had earlier. Is the fans prepared to show that they want this by not just turning on the TV. That's one component, but maximizing and at least having 25, 30,000 fans to support this. And for two fan bases, they got to do it for at least 2 games.
Yeah.
Right?
That's tough. At that time of year,
week, at the most, maybe 2-week period.
Yep.
Then when you talk about the appetizer, the other part that I would just assume, we're talking about the appetizer for who's going to fund this.
Yep.
Your sponsors. And that's why I'm trying to get people to see the cost about this. You know, we're talking about $8 million, and I think that's pretty conservative. I'm talking about putting on the event, and I already told you that the distribution needs to be about $4 to $5 million for it to even make sense for the schools to sign off on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want somebody to think about what Wilton threw out there when he threw the 2 Division II conferences. And this is for all the people, especially in the chats. It's tough for a good Division II team to be a bad FCS team. So you talking about taking our best Division II team, matching them up against our best FCS team? You know, if that game was within 3 touchdowns by the end, the Division II has accomplished something. Mm-hmm. You know, I can't see, not in a championship game scenario, why the hell you think they play us for at the first 2 weeks of the season? Right. There's a reason why. Even your good Division II teams struggle to beat bad FCS teams. It happens. A broke clock is right twice a day. It happens every now and then, but I don't want to see it happen in a championship scenario. Like level on a championship scenario.
To your point, we saw it last year. We saw a really good Albany State team that went pretty deep into the playoffs, and they played FAMU. Yeah. FAMU team that wasn't at their championship caliber just 2 years ago.
That lost the
yes, they played with them for 3 quarters, but even in that 4th quarter, the wear and tear, a lot of it, showed you the margins in terms of what that looks like. To your point, AD Drew,
Grandma Kentucky State,
part of it. The other part, like I'm saying, is just the rules don't even allow you to engage it, and so now you may have some folks who will just leave the NCAA. Well, again, leaving the NCAA is one thing, but you're leaving, just in general, you're leaving like $2 million per school essentially on the table for the Division I. You're leaving, and you're going to ask Division II to spend even more money as they are operating at the Division II level for a reason in terms of the cost, right? So where are you going to get the cost now to operate the program? Where is that money coming from? It's easy for folks to say, we can do this and we do that. But I'm saying financially, where is that actual money coming from? Somebody that studies this, that looks at the business platform, and I'd love to see it play off, but I come back to that question. You know, where is the additional revenue going to come from in terms of that? And we're in an age right now where people don't realize a lot of the money that we were getting to support our program, unfortunately, were coming from the diversity spot. They were not coming from the marketing and investment area. And we know what's taking place in this country in terms of diversity, that it has become a negative word. So it's more important that the metrics are there in regards to support that. And I think a lot of people just generally want HBCUs to be in a position, which is great. But when you do the metrics, which is what we tried to show from the show on Tuesday, why we like to bring somebody in. And I think there's just a lot of people that are frustrated that the passion that they have for HBCUs is not translating in terms of the respect that they would want to see from the businesses and folks to tell them exactly what they want to do. So I wanted to kind of bring that up and make sure that we address that from that perspective to get back in the conversation that we closed up at the beginning of the show. So I really appreciate you all sharing that and taking a deep dive and really providing some tough questions that we needed to evaluate for our lab listeners. And so we'll close it here and we'll continue to get into some of this business frameworks because the NCAA is putting out some other rules and guidelines. We talk about the 5 years, and it's already being challenged, but it still means that we need to look at this landscape. And we're going to bring that on this show in terms of that we take a deep dive, not only in terms of the HBCU sports culture, not only do we celebrate those that are doing well, from the players to literally the press box, to the boardrooms in terms of what's taking place with our HBCU program and how that is affected by organizations in the legal system and the United States in terms of what we do next. So we'll share those perspectives, and we really appreciate the lab listeners for tuning in and giving us their time and sharing their perspective on that. But we want to make sure that we do what's necessary to provide you with information, educational information that helps you think about things a little different. So thank you for listening inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports, as we like to say, with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Joining us today was none other than Wilton Jackson II, and one of the greatest out there that continues to do it on multiple levels is A.D. Drew. So again, I want to say thank all of y'all for continuing the work that you do. And again, we want to thank our listeners for tuning in to Dr. Vill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock, turning in another week. We look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Make sure you check out Carlos Brown on Saturday. Make sure you check out Brian and the AD on Sunday. I'm
Top
sure
five.
Be at what time?
Top five.
Top five
Of the year.
The final top five. So a lot of folks get a chance to kind of go back and see what that looks like and see what they say in terms of their top five. And they'll get into some other great discourse as well. We'll be back on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, you have the ONG Strike Zone, and then we'll clean things up on Thursday. Also on Wednesday at our time, we have the independent report. Didn't give you this week, so make sure you check in for that. Follow me, Dr. Cavil, DrKenyatta, Cavil. That's Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, as you know, on YouTube. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles.
Course.
Wilton.
Lecture.
AD.
Dismiss.